Reading and writing are fundamental skill sets that lie at the core of our education system. We are tasked to read and write nonstop from the moment we enter school, and continue to use these skills for the remainder of our lives. Reading opens the door to word recognition, comprehension, and fluency, which is an obvious requisite for an educated society. We use it to learn from wiser people, smarter people, and it takes us on the journeys and adventures of imaginative authors in fiction novels, for instance. Writing, on the other hand, is merely regarded as a means of communicating our thoughts in a narrative or analytical form. We regard it as a means of demonstrating our understanding to an instructor, for example. However, the power of writing, I believe, goes much deeper. As I will talk about in this video, if you become an avid writer, you will develop skills that can make you unstoppable. And I'm concerned that this is scarcely talked about in college. Writing is a tool used to formulate and organize a sophisticated set of ideas about any subject, which, over time, wires our mind to think sharply and speak clearly with others. But for some reason, reading is still disproportionately prioritized. Which isn't to say that it's not important, obviously. It's one of the most important things that we do. Nonetheless, we always ask ourselves, for example, if the SAT writing section matters or if the GRE writing section matters, and for some reason they tend not to matter as much as the other sections. Perhaps we're just so occupied with learning from those who are most educated. But this is really a fallacy. We are simply behind as a society when it comes to writing, and its advantages are unquestionable. In 2011, for example, a nationwide test found that only 24% of students in 8th and 12th grade were proficient in writing, and just 3% were advanced. Professors and employers around the United States can attest to this. Professor Klinkenberg, for example, said in the New York Times, "I've taught nonfiction writing to undergraduates and graduate students at Harvard, Yale, Bard, Pomona, Sarah Lawrence, and Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism. Each semester I hope and fear that I will have nothing to teach my students because they already know how to write. And each semester I discover again that they don't." And according to an article in CNBC, experts say colleges aren't doing a good job teaching writing. In a survey of 318 employers, 80% said colleges should focus more on written and oral communication. Put simply, writing is an organized form of thought. Now you may ask, why should you care about organizing a sophisticated set of ideas? Can't I just read a lot and just be a very knowledgeable person? Well, if you care at all about communicating effectively, then no, this is not sufficient. The ability to convey information is a skill in itself, and writing is the most effective means of acquiring it. If you have the ability to articulate your knowledge eloquently, you will significantly expand your capacity to captivate the attention of those around you. This latter point unlocks an ability that makes you unstoppable in the world. You see, as you attempt to articulate one abstract idea, which as an accomplished person by any measure, you do so continuously, the knowledge required to accomplish this comes in pieces of information. Loosely speaking, this is almost like a puzzle, where each piece represents the relevant information, the shape of the piece represents rhetorical compositional techniques, and the final image, the broader picture, is what you wish to convey. Each piece of knowledge is somehow related to formulate the larger picture. Although you may have a general idea as to how some pieces are related, it is challenging to consider them all simultaneously in order to convey the bigger picture. So meticulous organization of the relevant ideas in question is required if eloquence is the goal. Once this is accomplished, the bigger picture, or the abstract idea, is effectively communicated to your audience. And your audience can be a professor, your boss, venture capitalists, a YouTube audience, etc. When you write, you can move around these pieces of information word by word, sentence by sentence. You can also filter out the irrelevant details that dilute the bigger picture, thus making the message concise and elegant. Thereafter, whenever you're tasked to communicate these ideas to anyone, you'll be articulating a complete image that the listener can interpret with ease, which will be met with praise by people, including those that you admire. On the other hand, if you communicate poorly, which you will in the beginning, You'll be met with confusion and skepticism via the negative feedback of others, such as your professor, your editor, or your colleague. So with extensive practice and revision, you will ultimately evolve into someone with the aptitude to be persuasive, think sharply, and formulate arguments. These skills are foundational for any successful person, as it will be far more viable for you to, say, entice others with your vision, which is a necessity for entrepreneurs who seek funding, for example, justify a wage increase to your superiors and bosses, get admitted to colleges and win scholarships and fellowships and grants, or become persuasive amidst contentious discussions and defend yourself. And it does not stop here, because the more successful you become, the ability to communicate becomes more important. As you climb the hierarchy of any company or organization, more people will seek your thought-through ideas and guidance. Additionally, you'll be sought after as a source of insights and admiration. The need for effective communication and eloquence shows up everywhere, such as an articulate executive who thinks through viable courses of action and persuades the board of a company, or an articulate professor who reasons through new ideas and is highly persuasive in grant proposals, which in turn funds his or her research activities, or an articulate entry-level employee who communicates solutions to complex problems, which can alleviate the stress of his or her manager and accelerate the path toward promotion. Therefore, as you progress in your career, being well-spoken will pay dividends and will compound many times over. So next time you write a blog post, an essay for a class, a technical proposal, a statement of purpose, do not forget that you're developing an ability that will make people listen, admire, and respect you. For you science and engineering majors out there, I understand that you are already occupied with project-oriented courses. Therefore, for your humanities and social behavioral requirements, consider courses where abstract thoughts and elegant writing is expected, such as philosophy, for instance. You can also consider having a blog where you communicate your experience. Anything that gives you the excuse to write about the interesting ideas should suffice. And with consistent practice and diligence, you will maximize your potential and become an unstoppable person in this world. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you're interested in this content, and I will see you guys in the next video.